hits with the leak detector the other day, and it wasn't fully conclusive. So I put a rag around, and now the rag's soaked in oil, so it is leaking. So I'm gonna have to isolate the separator, and I'm gonna use the recovery machine to pump it into the suction header, and then I can pop that flare off and check it out. Yeah, that's not usually the dryer I like to use on these, but it works for now. So I'm gonna shut and isolate the condenser, and I gotta shut all the discharge valves on the compressors. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so it looks like just compressor 1 can handle the load pretty much. So I'm gonna shut off all the other ones for now. And I got the control switches, the breakers off. Now I'm going to close all these discharge valves, and then when I'm ready, I'll shut this one off. That way the off time is limited. Alright, I got all the valves isolated, all the discharge. Can't see, but I'm going to close and isolate the condenser. I already have the recovery machine all purged. So I'm going to isolate this, fire up the recovery machine, pump out the refrigerant out of the separator, and check that flare out. Now there might be some oil in the separator. I hope there still is. I'm going to try to pop the flare and stick a cap on there to keep the oil in there. I don't want to drain it, because then I'm going to have to pump oil in there to recharge the separator, or you'll damage the float. And that looks like it's a new float. It's a different colored metal in the base. So I'm going to do that now. Forgot to mention I turned off all the circuits, and so I got the condenser isolated. I'm going to power this on. There's the vapor. That up. I'm going to pump it down and go from there. Alright, we're almost down. One of the first things I did was shut the outlet of the oil out of the bottom of the separator. So I shut that off, and I let it run for a while. I forgot to mention that. So I'm going to let it pump down a little more, and then I'll pop that flare off. Try to get this cap on there while I check out the flare. Alright, so the flare looks alright. Now I don't have oil flying out, so I'm going to have to pre-charge the separator. So I'm going to pump a half gallon. I got oil here. I'm going to pump a half gallon into the separator so I don't damage the float. And it's a different color metal, so somebody did replace it at one time. But I did find this here. I'm going to try to put that ring on, but the flare looks okay. Doesn't look bad. So I'm going to put that, tighten it up, pump a half gallon in there, pre-charge it, pull a vacuum, and open it back up, get this back on. Alright, so I'm pulling the vacuum. I already pre-charged the separator. I just did it from this angle valve on the bottom. And I gotta purge, get oil so it's coming out the hose. I screw it on a couple turns, and then I just purge out the rest. Tighten it on, open that valve. I put a half gallon of oil in to pre-charge it. I know this isn't the best vacuum practice, but I'm using regular hoses. But my vacuum gauge needs a new sensor. I'm just trying to get this done So I'm gonna fire it back up. All right, so I opened the full-time condenser for now. I left the split seasonal off. I'll turn that on before I leave. I open the discharge, turn on compressor 1, and I'll give it a little bit of load. Turn on some more. I'm gonna open up compressor 2. Alright, I got all discharge valves open. Got all the breakers back on. Throw in another compressor. And a couple more circuits. I got my leak detector. I'm going to start that up outside. My back rack is not operational right now, so I got this fucker, which it's been pretty good to me. I'm gonna start this up and just test around there, see if I get anything. Can't see. Getting a bleep. It might have just been bleeping from much residual. These packings leak pretty bad, and I had the nuts loose while I played with them, so there might be residual refrigerant in here. I'm going to wrap a piece of paper towel around the bottom and see if it gets oily again. Alright, so I'm not picking up anything right now. Although when it's an oil line, occasionally, you know, a lot of the times you won't be able to pick it up with the detector, but you will see oil. So I've wiped up all the oil I had from purging hoses and taking the flare off. I'm going to put a piece of paper towel down here, wrap it around, and just see if I come back the next day or two and there's oil down there. But I think I got it. This is on. All the compressors are on. All the circuits are on. So, all right.